9:47 p.m. Saturday, March 16th, 2024. Why did the conspiracy theorists cross the road? Things have taken a little bit of a dark turn in my content. Usually, when things change like with the vibe and change with, just the vibe, the mode of things, I usually know that. But I didn't plan this out or expect it. It doesn't make me feel good either, but at the same time I know, there's probably a really good reason for it to be what it is. It's just taking a dark turn, and I don't like talking like that or even sharing things like that and stuff. I really don't. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't want it to continue, but I also go where I'm led. People, can call it whatever they want, by the spirit, by whatever, like higher forces, divine power, higher power, the spirit, God, the universe. None of that is really like what matters to me too much, like the actual terminology used. But what does matter to me is how stuff feels, and it doesn't feel good to be sharing and talking about stuff like that. I think that the biggest reason why it doesn't feel good is because there's this like little voice in the back of my head talking about being a false accuser. Because what if everything isn't how it seems, What if we are wrong about how the corruption really works and stuff? See, I'm pretty sure that higher forces control the thoughts in all people. And there's possibly conflicting sources. There's possibly conflicting sources for all people's thoughts, meaning like whenever you're conflicted about doing something, like you want to do something, but then you're like, no, I probably shouldn't, but then I want to because of this, but I probably shouldn't because of that. Well, that's because I think there's more than one source, and our brains are like Bluetooth. Instead of like generating the thoughts, they're picking them up like a Bluetooth earbud. It's just a thought, but I think that it's more than a thought. So to stay on track here, as far as corruption goes, and like a corrupt politician, is he really like in control? Or is there a bigger supernatural game board here that just moves them when they need to move them, and then there's the illusion of free will all the time? I was listening to a rabbi teacher of mine recently, and he was talking about free will, and he was saying like nobody has free will. You have freedom of choice, not freedom of will, because if you decide to go rob a bank, speaking of a bank, there's a bank next to me, and I literally processed that as I said it. If you decide to go rob a bank and you get in the car and you get stuck in traffic, or if you run off the road or something and you don't make it to go to rob the bank, are you still a bank robber? Because your choice was to go rob a bank. You just weren't good enough at it or capable enough to do it. So you still are technically a bank robber, but you didn't succeed in it. Isn't that what Jesus was talking about, being an adulterer, like lusting after a woman? And once you hate your brother, then you're already like a hater or already a murderer or whatever, just because like you already felt it. And once you like lust after a woman, you're already an adulterer, and so on and so forth. So maybe these politicians and stuff, like they're just being used by higher forces that they couldn't control it if they wanted to. But then on the other side of the coin, it's like, well, what if they do have freedom of choice and freedom of will, and they choose to do things to help themselves move their own selves and their own personal agendas forward and their own secret groups' agendas forward, but at the expense of the masses and the regular man and woman, then what? Because that's how I think most Americans take it with these politicians and stuff, that they choose to do what they do, and what they choose is not good for the rest of us, and is only good for them and a small group of them and their secret buddies. And then if that's the case, then I think that what the dark turn that my content, especially on TikTok, has taken lately wouldn't be so bad, because what else is this? Andrea's there. Sorry, I paused it. I've been talking for about 10 minutes. I think this one might be worth watching again. I'm gonna have it'll be up as a video, so I'm not gonna keep it going and ramble too much. But watch it, Andrea, if you get a chance, please, because I don't like something. I'm going by my feelsy at the moment with something, and it's just like, my especially TikTok content, but things have taken kind of a dark turn that I didn't pre-plan with content lately, and I don't know, just looking at it a couple different ways, just trying to understand really what's going on, like what motivates the corruption pretty much. Is it external thoughts coming into all people's brains like Bluetooth, and the people in high positions like politicians are just being used by higher forces to play out some kind of like game board thing, and they don't really have a choice, freedom of free will or freedom of choice, and they are just acting out the corruption of a higher force like some sort of a demiurge or whatever you want to call it. But I just rewatch. I don't want to repeat myself all over again. I just gotta, I feel kind of negative when I look at my content, especially on TikTok right now. I just don't like talking like that. I have gotten a handful of community guideline violations recently, and but they haven't taken the channel down or anything, so I still kind of think that might be onto something, and maybe just find a little bit better vibe on saying it, taking it over. I think we'll see. Thanks for stopping in, Andrea. Stay up.